Hello, and welcome to Connecting Tucson with Jaime Overturf, broadcasting from the Tucson Business Channel, a division of Mark Bishop Media situated in Stewart Title corporate offices on Broadway in Tucson, Arizona. Connecting Tucson is all about connecting our community, local businesses, and organizations to help our community grow and thrive. Today, we are talking with Javier Avalos, the general manager of Spectrum Ina Road Auto Collision in Tucson, Arizona. Javier grew up in Los Angeles, California, in a suburban city of Los Feliz, where he attended Los Angeles City College and was privileged enough to attend the University of Southern California. He has been in the automotive industry for over 40 years. All of his experiences has been in the collision and repair and restoration for vehicles, from collector vehicles to your everyday soccer mom SUVs. Thank you for joining us today on Connecting Tucson, Javier, and sharing about you and your business.
Thank you, Jaime, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Excellent. I always like to start this off by letting our listeners know just a little bit more about you and your background and why you got started in the automotive industry.
Well, it's such a cliche, but really I got involved by accident.
Okay.
What happened was that one of my colleagues or schoolmates had gotten into a little fender bender, and he had asked me, hey, I don't know how to repair this. And I go, well, why don't we just pull this panel out and see what it looks like? And after that, I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but through watching other mechanics, I was able to fix it for him. And I go, you know what, this is fun. Nice. So one instant like that, I was lucky enough to be hired by a operation company in Los Angeles. At that time, it was called One Day Paint and Body, which was a mass production of vehicles. They would paint 20, 25 cars per day, and I was hired as a production manager, which I didn't know anything about. They just say, hey, this guy is semi-educated, he's Hispanic, he speaks Spanish, sold, come on board. So ever since then, I became a production manager. I became also a quality control supervisor. Within a very short time, I started looking. I learned the craft by being on hands. So I decided to learn how to paint. And from painting, I did some body repairs, body work, and mechanical. And I go, you know what? I can do this. This is really nice. It's easy to work with. And therefore, let me see where this career is going to take me to. Next couple of years, I was offered a manager's position to run one of the stores for them. After that, I presented to my bosses. I would say, there's more money to be made in the collision than into the production of painting cars in and out. I'm sure a lot of your listeners will remember Earl Shive, where you used to paint cars for $99.95.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me tell you, it wasn't too far off that, I would see, God, you can paint a whole car for $99.95, but you can make more money painting two panels for $300. So I presented that to my bosses, and they say, well, you know what, that's not really our cup of tea, but let's give it a shot. They allow me to start a model of a small collision business. They trusted me to bring it up, and within 6 months, I was doing just as much business as one of their bigger shops. At that point, I wanted to change the format of the company, and by offering them that was the future. And they said, no, we paint cars. We paint 20 cars every day. And I go, that's a huge production. That's a lot of labor. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go and start my own. And I did. I left in good terms. They wished me good luck and opened up my repair facility in El Monte, California. Did that for 3 years. My wife decided to say, you know what, we need to buy a house, because by that time we had two lovely girls, proud father of 3 girls, and a boy.
Aww.
The boy had to come in. So
there you go.
being able not to afford a home in Los Angeles back in those days, Tucson became very, very attractive at that time. And we did. We looked around and we found a lovely home in Oro Valley, and we settled down and we said, wow, we have this kind of a house for this amount of money. It's like a no-brainer.
Yes.
At that time, then we saw a little, it was a 4-bay repair facility that was vacant. And I said, you know what, I bet you I can start something here. So my father-in-law was able to help us out and say, hey, he was in the automotive repair business as well. So that was the beginning here in Tucson, and here we are celebrating 30 years.
I cannot believe that. I mean, it's still the same way. Who can afford the house in California? It just seems to grow and grow and grow exponentially. It's almost like you can get a 5-bedroom home here for the cost of like a 1-bedroom potentially over there.
You know, I see a lot of similarities as when we left. It was at that time, it was a buyer's market. And they were we were in Oro Valley, and 4-bedroom, 2-story house on a golf course for $150,000 back in the day. Now, you can't even get a...
I wish there was that pricing, because I would go out and buy like 5 or 6 of those things and start the rental business.
Right, exactly.
Oh, so obviously you got interested in this by just trial and error and starting out, and you developed your own model. That is so cool. I did not know that about you. So tell us about your business. Tell us a little bit about the collision and repair restoration of vehicles.
Sure. Well, ever-changing. The wonderful thing about being in the collision business is that even though the fenders, bumpers, hoods get damaged, no one car is the same. And that's the beauty of being in this business, is that every time there's a vehicle that's coming in to be fixed, it always presents an amazing challenge. Just when you think you know something, it clicks in. No, there's something else. Technology now. We have customers that come in and they say, my radio's not working. And then you say, well, have you tried this? And they go, no, I haven't been. So there's little tricks that we find.
Yes.
That
I think you're talking about mine.
I thought I'd put that one in there for you. So
no worries. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, but I do remember. I remember you fixed my car. It was amazing, by the way. But somehow my radio, we tried everything to get my radio to work, and it wasn't working. But you went in and did something, and pop, it's on. So yay. So what are some products and services that you offer there at Spectrum Ina Road Auto Collision?
So our focus is the collision repair, but while the car is in there, we do offer headlight restorations. We offer detailing. We offer also upholstery and glass replacement. Everything that has to do within the actual repair of the vehicle, and the customer doesn't have to take the car somewhere else, then that's what we do for the customer. We always can tell who's new in town, because the first thing they do when they come in, you look at their cars and I go, they're not from here. We offer window tinting. I go, we need to tint your windows right away. And they look at you and they say, no, well, I go, just try it. Just try it, and we have our personal cars, and we go, sit here for X amount of time and sit here. And they do. And now with prescriptions, or even people that have sensitivity to their eyes, we also tint their windshields. And for the ladies, it protects their hands and from the ultraviolet. And it's really amazing. It's just, you can tell 90% of the time how quickly the vehicle stays cooler in your interior. And most importantly is we found that the millennials to Gen X, the ones that are having young babies, they're coming in and then they buy these kind of duct tubes that come in from the ducts.
Yes.
And then they put the air through the back their babies. The minute we see that, we rip those things off and we explain to them the reason why. And we tell them inside that tubing where the air conditioner, it's all petroleum-based plastics. And when the car gets hit, it releases oils which are toxic.
Oh my.
So you need, when you first turn on your AC, make sure your windows are down, let it evaporate, or just use the exterior. And then once the car is running, just go ahead and recycle it. But eventually get those toxics out of it. And you can tell by the taste once you get in the car and the AC is running. Just kind of
you're a lifesaver, is what you are.
Well, it's just trial and error that you just begin to see, and then you say, wait a minute, why is this person having a headache? Why is this going on? And right away we start noticing, and there's technical bulletins that don't get out to our consumers.
Right. That's a huge one. I also want to tell you that as far as the window tinting, if you've let your insurance carrier know that you've tinted your window, there's customization that they can put on there to make sure that if you get your window chipped, they can get the window tint added back in.
That is correct.
That's why you need to really communicate with your insurance agent. Just thought I'd put that out there. So that's actually a lot of different services. I didn't know you guys did restoration. What's that involved?
Restoration is basically comes down to every person has always had a dream of a 65 Mustang or a Dodge Bronco. And what they do is now they're few. So Barrett Jackson has a lot to do with restorations now.
Yes, they do.
And people go on and say, hey, I bought this car. I bought it for $2,000. And the first thing I said, anybody can afford a dream car. So the next thing we tell them is, can you afford to maintain it? So we go through a process of, what is it like to go through a restoration process. A restoration is, there's different kinds. We stay in the mid of the restoration.
Okay.
We don't go through the engine. We don't go through floorboards. We just basically restore the refinish of the car.
Got it.
And then we sublet the upholstery or whatever the customer wants. But
so if they want custom upholstery, they're like, I don't like this one, we need to...
Right.
Okay.
And there's partners that we partner up with, and we say, hey, these are two people that you might want to talk to, and it's a nice and lengthy process. And the good thing about it is that we get them involved in the process, and we say, okay, go ahead and be part of it, so that way when everything is put back together, you will understand the effort and the labor that it took in restoring a vehicle.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, I did not know you did all of that. I knew your detailing and the glass, obviously, as the insurance agent, and I did that. That's just a lot of different services. So do you just do the windshield glass, or do you do glass for the side windows?
We do all types of glass.
Okay.
And again, changing times, so your windshield has to be calibrated. Your side mirrors have to be calibrated. Not your glass, your door glasses, it's not being calibrated because there's no moving parts on it. But as far as your back glass, you got to make sure when you go shopping for a window tint service, the back glass has heater elements. And those heater elements, within time, they start to separate. If you use a very inexpensive window tint, the distortion is going to be so horrible that by the time you remove that back glass tint, it's going to peel away all those heating elements.
Ooh.
So in the winter, now that we have snow here, about once in a while, we do have those windows that get fogged
Frosted,
up
yep.
and get frosted. So at that time, that's when you use it. But you have to look at the best possible window tint that's out there. 3M SunGuard is pretty good, but again, don't skim with it. Yeah, and that's one more thing with window tints, you don't want to go too dark. A lot of people say, well, I want it dark. What they don't realize is at night when you're backing up or you're leaving a restaurant, you can't see.
See, that's a good point too. I'm learning a lot from you.
And the good thing is good for us because they're backing into somebody else, so we got instant business.
I like it. Well, hey, that works.
Yeah, that
works. Yeah. So can you walk us through what an initial appointment would look like for one of your clients if they're coming in? Maybe they've got a fender bender or they're doing upholstery. What does some of that look like for you?
Sure. Very good question. I really love that because when a customer comes in, obviously they've been impacted. Second most expensive piece of property or possession they're going to have is their car. First their home, second their car. So they're going to come in very emotionally worry about what the cost, what everything. What we love to do is have an interview with the client to say, okay, let's take a look and see what the cost factor is going to be. And then at that point, we can address whether it's a good way to go with an insurance claim or do we just do a self-paying. We like to encourage people to, at least before they make the phone call to the agent, do come and see us. So that way we can tell you what the best case scenario. We know what the measurements, the measurements of what the costs in future claims are going to be. We know that for farmers, anything under $800, it won't affect as much. So if you have a $250 deductible, we have $500 to play with, then you say, you know what, maybe that's a way to go. And I'd like to educate the client into how we're going to proceed with that vehicle. So two types of clients. You have the young, and young meaning 40 and under, and then mature. It would be 55 and higher. And what we like to do is really look and ask the question is, what's your driving habits like? Have you had many claims? So that gives us a good barometer as far as which way we're going to lean in preparing that damage report. Because if we're close enough to where, you know what, Mr. Smith, for under $1,000, just pay it, because if you have multiple incidents, your insurance may go up 25% for 3 years. So let's do the math.
Let's do the math, exactly. And I always tell people, go out, get the estimates. Let's look at your deductibles and see if it makes sense.
Correct.
That's the first thing you do. So
perfect. That's and that's really what you want to do, because again, we're looking at everybody's interest, and not just the insurance company or the customers. The customers say, well, that's why I pay insurance. Okay, all right, but 6 months from now when you get your statement, call
your agent. Do you have accident forgiveness? Talk to them. See what they're going to do.
Right.
Well, I know there's also a lot of carriers out there that don't deal with agents, and unfortunately when they call, all they do is they process the claim.
Correct.
So I always tell people, if you know someone, call someone, at least ask the questions. And I'm always I'm always willing to help. So-and-so said I should call you. So even though they're not my client, I'm still going to direct them where they need to go. So I love that you do that. It is. And I love the fact that you walk them through everything. You can see, here's insurance, here's not insurance. Should we use insurance? Do we not need to use insurance? How is it going to impact you? You guys did that with me, even though I'm an insurance agent. But I loved it. It was fun. I got to see your experience and how it worked, and I love that you educate them on that. So let's see. Here we go. What is the difference between quality versus quantity repairs?
We get that asked a lot, and usually we just say, well, we're not a fast food chain. So if you want a fast and quick, that's not our company. Our company we use the latest materials. We offer lifetime warranties, and this is something that's really important for your consumers, and that is the shop is the one that warranties and guarantees the work. The insurance company may say, yeah, we stay behind, but at the end of the day, it's the shop, because we go back to our manufacturer and we say, we have a claim of material, we have a claim of parts. We partner up. We're certified through GM, Chrysler, and what we do is when we place our orders, we get the manufacturer to match the aftermarket or the used parts, and we're able to give you a original part. And our percentages would be slightly lower, but we have a 1-year warranty on a brand new part versus 90 days.
Right.
So our customer gets a lot more for the buck.
Exactly. And that is, obviously you guys, your rates are good as well, but you stand behind your work. And there's a lot of what I call cookie cutters out there that claim they do, but then you can't ever get a hold of somebody, or they give you the runaround and you get frustrated. You're dealing with you and your team, which are phenomenal. So what is the status of the repair industry, plus and minus parts, labor, and materials, things of that nature?
How much time do you have?
Well, we can kind of get into that, but I think that's an important thing for our consumers to know, is because it's not what it was 2 years ago. So,
well, it's not what it used to be even a month ago or 2 months.
True. Yes.
So the ever-changing, the great thing of what's going on today is everybody has experienced some type of a delay, whether it be a appliance, whether it could be a bed, could be anything that's out there. It's no longer something that you just go out there and pick off the shelf and here we go. Now, today, we have to call the dealer, place the order, wait for the dealer to reply back to us, which could be a day, 2 days. And then they say, well, be 30, 60, 90 days. This is the way the parts are going to be. The paint material, the materials are petroleum based, so it's been a huge amount of delays on our clears and materials. We would think we are self-sustained, so we have a paint bank, so we don't have to wait for the paint company to send us their paint. We took this approach years ago when they first started coming out. We're in control, but to buy in bulk, those bulk items are no longer available for us. So everything, not just Arizona, this is nationwide. We go as far as Mexico to get some of these materials because they're using the same products. Obviously, they're labeled differently, but that's how far our focus, as far as thinking outside the box, is how are we going to get our client back on the road as soon as possible with the same quality that they would be expecting. That's our focus.
That is phenomenal. I know it's like when I get clients calling me saying, why is the cost so expensive to replace? Well, let's just say bumpers are not what bumpers used to be. There's sensors, there's backup cameras, there's all of these added ons that you have to think about when you have a little fender bender.
Now, Jimmy, here's something important for your clients to understand is that now the manufacturers, they want us to replace things. So a fender bender on a bumper on a plastic, you use more material than what is designed to do. Now the calibration of that distance is no longer going to be the same.
Right.
Because there's going to be different variations on that. So when you're transparent in that way to your clients, that you're explaining to them what the process is, the 800 number doesn't explain that to you. Mm-mm. So it's huge to have an agent that can pick up the phone and say, I'm interested in what's going on with you. Here's what the state of the repair industry is, not just in the collision side, but on the mechanical side. That's also a huge, tremendous amount of work. What keep us up at night are technicians, that they're well provided for, that they also are consumers. They also have cars. So if the price of gas keeps going up with them and they can't get to work, then that's definitely going to delay the repair process.
Wow. Okay. I always am one of those that I'm very transparent as well. So that's why I love that. What should a consumer look for in a collision repair shop?
Transparency, honesty.
Obviously.
And the most important thing is look at their business. Look at really what the management is like. Reviews are great to look at, but really when you walk in through the door, you have to be welcome. You have to feel that the business cares about what you are going through. And again, we're dealing with emotional. You were dealing with something that just got impacted, and now you have to spend $500. Well, now the average deductible is $1,500.
In many, yeah. Usually, the majority of mine, I try to write 500 to 1,000.
Again, you're different. You're different. Your loss ratio must be low, but a lot of people don't do that. So when you walk into a collision center, you have to be welcome. Nowadays, if you go to one of these national companies, the first thing they tell you is, "Do you have an appointment?" And we can't see you till. And how rude! I mean, for us, it's great because we're getting all that day in and
I can confirm
so
that. Yes, and I even suggest, not just driving to the places, but calling and seeing, because a lot of times they're gonna tell you need an appointment. We can't see you until X date. Mm-hmm. And I tell all my clients, call around. I give them a list of 3 to 4. You're on it. Mm-hmm. I said, call these 3 or 4, see if one of them can work for you. Usually they get called back, and I think 9 times out of 10, they're like, I got through to Spectrum, so thank you. I'm like, yay. You can see them within that week, whereas some of the national ones are months. Yeah. I think the last one I got quoted was 96 days. Correct. I was like, oh my goodness. And you can't be without a car for 96 days.
No, and you don't know, you really don't know what the client is driving. I mean, you're talking about, how can you not take the time to inspect the vehicle? That's a liability because let's say you're driving down and alligator skin hit the car, and now you're driving and you're looking for a place. So as you're driving, so that's one impact. So if you don't know if you have a cracked plastic radiator, and if it runs out of water, that's going to be now looked at as negligence because you did not stop. Mm-hmm. You did not take precaution. But how are you going to know that?
Exactly, unless you can inspect it. And that's what makes you different. Yes. So very interesting. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Connecting Tucson with Jaime, where we focus on connecting our community, local businesses, and organizations to help our community grow and thrive. As your local insurance professional for all of your insurance needs, I know how important it is to make a new and lasting connection in our own community. You never know how a connection is going to create a spark or pull you in a unique direction. If you're a small business owner or involved in a community project or a nonprofit and you'd like to be featured on this show, please just give me a call. All of my information is on the Tucson Business Channel. Just click on Connecting Tucson with Jaime and my lovely face pops up. I'd love to hear from you. We were talking with Javier Avalos, the general manager of Spectrum Ina Road Auto Collision. I'm just going to call it Spectrum moving forward. I can personally attest to the level of service and customer service and repairs that Spectrum provides. Your team was so thorough with me and patient in explaining all of the details. I mean, they were very thorough. Not only the details, the cost, how to move forward, and so much more. I was so much appreciated, and it was an eye-opener from seeing some of the larger shops versus how yours operated. In fact, my husband's the one that referred me to you. However, looking at all of the different options for auto collision or auto repair out there seems to be so many different companies, so much competition. What separates the good shops from the bad shops out there? And more specifically, what separates you from those shops?
I believe that, I keep saying but it's really a team effort, is that we believe that, again, addressing your emotional needs on the vehicle is the key thing. You're not just a claim. You're not just a profit number. But we want to make a long-lasting customer and possibly a friend, because I will see you at a restaurant and I don't want to turn my head and say, "Ooh, did I do a good job on that car?" or that we did not meet their expectations. So those are early lessons that I learned early on in my career as far as addressing. And we're all going to make mistakes. No one repair can be 100%. There's no such thing as 100%. But 99%, absolutely. And that's what we thrive for. And if there is an issue, let's address it. And that's really where the bottom separates us, is that we're able to address every single issue, whether it's part of the claim or self-pay. I think when you have an answer, you deserve a complete inspection of what your question would be. So yeah, that's what separates us. You're just when you pick up your car from a repair facility, does the service writer or does the staff go out and say, here's your car? You just don't go to a cashier and say, well, where's my car at?
Right, you bring your car to them. Yeah, I know that for a fact.
So, no, it is important for us to show you and tell you. We go, again, what separates us is that we take you to your car or we let you know your car is this way.
And I like the fact that you don't turn your head when you see somebody. That says a lot.
Yes.
And I always tell people, you may not like what I have to say, but I'm always going to be truthful and transparent with you. So that is one thing that I love about Spectrum, just so you know. Do you have an ideal client or customer, or are you just like...
Our ideal customer it's the everyday car.
Okay.
You know, the everyday car is really our customer. Whoever drives it is, again, you have someone that's never been in an accident, and then you have one that we have a punch card for them every month. And those,
I'm cringing at that one right now.
Everybody's our ideal customer. Is right now is just managing through these times that we just are asking as a whole is that patience with everything that's going on, and at the end of the day, you will get your request. You'll have your service where they need to be. But our ideal customer is that car. That's really who we work for, making sure that Betty's ready to go. Because if you don't take care of Betty, Betty's not going to take care of you.
No, not at all. So I know we touched a little bit about some of the challenges that the industry is seeing, but what are some common challenges that Spectrum is seeing right now in your industry?
Lack of materials and parts.
Lack of materials and parts. And you're actually, from the last conversation that we had just touched off prior to the break, was you were trying to outsource.
Correct.
And so how does that look?
Well, interesting enough that how we just don't look, even though we have one paint company as a partner, we look for what's it going to take to get that vehicle. If we don't use that particular brand, then we're going to look at each large company, whether it's PPG, BASF, and then you have other companies that are out there. They're all very similar in their materials.
And quality.
Definitely. Well, the quality has to be there because I don't want to repaint someone's fender. One of the most important things that I forgot to mention is that we're very eco-friendly. All of our paint materials are enviro-based, which are water-based. And we're one of the leaders. We were probably the second company that we brought in the water-based system into the Arizona market. So that was something that we were proud of.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Well, we have to because, I come from Los Angeles. We had we had some people looking over our shoulders, and they were just saying, no, you got to change everything. And the good thing that the good companies came out with very proactive.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's one of the things that you will see that we really push for is the environment and not having so many toxic materials out there. So the water base is what's on your car. And that's exactly what we put on it. And you were talking about what separates us from a shop. Ask them. Have them prove it to you. Have them show you that, yes, you are using environmentally friendly materials.
Just another thing that sets you apart from everybody else.
Little things.
Well, all those little things add up. So it's not really a little thing. It's a big thing.
Correct.
So, and I know we spoke about insurance companies, and, obviously that's what I do. So I know the answer to this question. But what is the responsibility of an insurance company while repairs are being made, Javier?
That's very easy, and that's a partnership. It's ultimately we share the same customer. So my customer is to make sure that they renew And when they renew, that means you're happy. And if there's going to be challenges between what the claims department and what our business model will look for as far as getting the car repaired properly, using the right materials. But I think as an agent or as an agent needs to be an advocate for their customer. And we are the advocate for your customer. So if we don't see eye to eye, you will be getting a call, because you know what? You will be making the call to somebody else that say, why can't we get to this point? And at the end of the day, it's all about transparency and say, oh, okay, I didn't understand that. We're dealing physically with the vehicle, it's in front of us, versus other carriers, they're outsourcing their claims department way on the other side of the world.
Yes.
And that is not a very good thing.
And as an insurance agent, I will give my answer to that one. Mine is not only to be an advocate for the client, but to also make sure that the client understands the process that you guys are going through. And having an agent that understands the collision and repair process and the parts and the labors and everything usually does help set the tone when they go to said shop. So.
Oh my gosh, you're a blessing.
So that is one thing that, it is very important for an agent to actually advocate for their client, because a lot of times, in the bigger scheme of things with all carriers, they don't have the relationship with the carrier. They have the relationship with you, and they have the relationship with me. And they're not going to be calling the CEO of a major multi-million-dollar company to yell at them. So.
That is correct. And that's one of the things that we advocate, having a person, an agent that you can walk into their office and say, Jaime, I need help navigate through this. And then you are there, versus 1-800 numbers is like, press this, press that. And no, you know what?
That is so frustrating.
There's not that much savings regardless what they say.
Exactly. So what do you like best about what you do?
Everything.
Everything. Well, do you have
almost everything.
I was going to say everything. I'm sure there's a few things you don't like.
I don't like paperwork. The administrative part of it, that drives me insane. I'd rather be it's funny because on my business cards, I actually put down window washer, lot attendant. And that is my title, and I'm very proud of that.
Aw. So I know probably one of your favorite parts is working with the client and nurturing the relationship. So, yeah, I'm with you on the paperwork. No, just no. What does being a preferred provider for an insurance carrier mean? That's
a very easy question. It's not so much being a provider, but just being someone that can be of service to the insurance company and the agent. There's a lot of providers out there, and we don't just partner up with a lot of insurance companies. The reason being is that we want to work with someone that we'd say, here's our damage report. They look at it, and within seconds, electronically, we have an answer. And the transparency that we have with the people that manage these relationships are, you can pick up the phone and say, here's the challenge that we have. So the flexibility of taking care of those clients at a personal level, it's by far the best business that you can have with being a preferred.
Mm-hmm. I like it. And I'm going to, as a preferred provider, as the insurance person, I'm going to because I don't think a lot of my clients know this. They might have a friend that works in a local garage down the street and they want to use them, but they may not be a preferred provider. So as an insurance carrier, what we do is we go to one of our preferred providers and say, hey, here is what is happening with this one. How much would you cost? And you give us that information, but it doesn't match with Mark's friend down the street, right?
Correct.
So then we're like, okay, well, Spectrum can do it for $7,000. Your friend's doing it for $9,000. You're going to have to boot up that extra $2,000. So that's how that works as a preferred provider for an insurance carrier. I'm not sure if you knew that or
not. We do, but there's a little bit more than
that. Right, a little bit more. Yeah, absolutely.
The $9,000. It's really. Are you really going to do $9,000 worth of work? Our job and our responsibility and commitment is to both of the parties, the insurance and the client. And one thing that a lot of carriers forget, the car is going to tell us what it needs.
Exactly. And you might not know what it needs until you actually strip it down. There might be things that you are missing. So that's why it's an estimate.
That is correct. But to elaborate on what the car needs, so let's say you have a 2015 Honda Accord and the car has only 1,500 miles. You know what? It's my job to make sure that car looks like a 1,500-mile car.
Yes.
Now, same car, 2015 Honda Accord, and it looks like it's gotten beat up and there's not a straight panel. Guess what? There's your answer. We'll make it look nice, but you have to take care of that vehicle of yours. You have to maintain it in the most prestigious ways that it is. So that doesn't mean that you're going to use inferior things. We're just saying is that for one car, it's going to warrant a little bit more of a presentation than someone that doesn't. We have cars that come in. One of the biggest problems that we're having right now is headlights. Headlights
really?
are fogging up at a fast rapid, so they become cloudy. So now we put a brand new headlight, and then the other one, it's all distorted because it's all burned out. It's not the insurance company's fault because people say, well, you have to make them both the same. We go, no, this is what got damaged. This is what we're going to replace. But here's what we're going to do for you. We're going to buff it. We're going to restore it. We're going to clean it up and make it the best we can.
So
customers happy.
Exactly. And that again, yet another reason to go to Spectrum, people. All right. So if you can share it, what is one success story that you're most proud of, or either a restoration or repairs? There's something that sticks out in your head that you're like, yeah, that was one of my best success stories.
Pleasing Jamie.
Hey, I don't think I was good.
Well,
just my radio. I don't know what happened to it.
I mean, I don't want to sound too pretentious or anything, but we did win again Best Body Shop on the Arizona Daily Star.
And how many times is that now?
For the first 3 years, we're probably 4 years in a row. Last year we came in second, but this year we stepped it up again. So we've been recognized as an industry, and our peers being put next to our peers, and some of our peers referring their customers, their overflow to us. That is a big compliment to us, and we don't take it lightly, and we appreciate that. At least when they can't get to their customers, they refer them to us because they know we'll take care of them.
That is phenomenal. So is there anything that we have not mentioned that you think my listeners would like to know?
Just call your agent. Don't be afraid of them. Call us. And before you make that phone call, give yourself a peace of mind, because when and if you're going to go and use insurance, you'll be well prepared. Because when you're well prepared, you'll be able to say, Jamie, or I have this information in front of me. I know the shop did an estimate, and I'm going to, because it's up to them to report an accident, whether they're going to go. I always tell them, always take pictures.
Every time, take a picture.
Every time, whether they hit you slightly or whatever the case is, just take pictures. If it's your fault, we can erase them later. But, oops.
I didn't hear that. No,
you didn't hear that.
No.
But the most important thing is what we're seeing right now, the fraud is, and there's another point to this, is that when you get hit, just get out of your car, make sure you're safe, and just take pictures of the car and take a picture of the license plate of the individual. By that time, there are some people that are saying, you know what, I don't want to go through my insurance company. I want to pay out of pocket. And that's fine.
That's okay to do, too.
That's okay to do that. But that person, here's what we have found after 40 years being in business. Whoever says that has been in multiple accidents, probably has a lapsed insurance policy, and they're not coming, they're not going to be truthful. So by that time, you just say, okay, here's my information. They'll give you information that is totally not correct. But take pictures. We're in that technology now today that we use our cameras, and especially the surroundings, the traffic light, just a whole product pictures that's going to make the adjuster make a decision to say, yeah, you know what, you did rear end them. No, the customer did not back up and hit your car. So those are the things that I would say. And most important thing that we're seeing now is your catalytic converter.
Oh, those.
Please.
Had 5 claims on those in the last 6 months.
Yeah. Catalytic converters. And so what do? So when you go, and most of these catalytic converters are being hit in offices. Some of them are being hit when you go out to dinner. Try to find a parking space with lots of lights and attempt to park your car next to a curb, so that way it makes it harder for them. Mm-hmm. So what these individuals are doing, they're usually in a older van with a sliding door or a back door. They open up the doors and then they crawl underneath it. They get out a saw and boom, 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 they're in and out. But I have actually seen customers that we have replaced them, and they go and they put chicken wire underneath. So when they start getting underneath
unique.
there.
I never thought about that one. Oh, my goodness. Oh, but I will tell you, on response to that, I always tell people in every single call when I get up, get a dashboard camera that activates when somebody pulls up to it, and get one from the rear end as well.
Absolutely.
They're relatively inexpensive. $50 for the both of them. You can get it off of Amazon. Best investment that you would ever make. So you can prove that person backed up into you, mm-hmm. or you can see the license plate or faces of people that are trying to get underneath your vehicle because it's activated. Cheapest way to help you ever.
Correct.
And one other thing for those, that is a comprehensive claim, not a collision claim. And then that is how we work forward there. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of fraud. 5 in the last 6 months for the catalytic converters, just in my book. Just in my book.
Okay, I was going to say that's nothing. We just have 4 in our today, yesterday, and before. We have 4 that came in within our general area. So there are 2 individuals.
It's a common one.
Yeah.
I like the chicken wire. I'm going to use that.
The chicken wire, let me tell you, or the barbed wire underneath it, it takes them a while. And you know what? They want to be in and out within 3 to 4 minutes, mm-hmm. and 4 minutes being a long time. And you can pretty much tell who's going to be doing what out there.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, fraud is rampant. But yes, dashboard cams and backup cams, best thing that I have found. Javier, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I've learned a lot. I know my clients have learned a lot, as well as the listeners. So thank you. Just a wealth of knowledge. If you haven't heard about them, Spectrum Auto Collision off of Ina, take a look at them. They are phenomenal. I cannot highly recommend them enough. They do quality work, quality service, quality parts, quality materials. So, and their price is phenomenal. You just need to check them out. Again, thank you for coming on the show. That is all for Connecting with Tucson with Jamie here at the Stewart Title Studios. If you liked the show, let us know. You can connect with or go to the Tucson Business Channel, a division of Mark Bishop Media. You can connect with Javier and Spectrum Ina Road Auto Collision through the Tucson Business Channel, a division of Mark Bishop Media, on the website by clicking Connecting Tucson with Jamie Overturf. Also, you can go to www.inaroadautocollision.com and you can see them there.
Great. It's an honor to be here with you, Jamie.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
All right. That's all, Tucson. Have a great day.